Okay, so I've signed into my school Azure portal account. So I actually am using the Azure portal as a student, which comes with 100 free credits and a lot of features that have been given to students. So if you're a student, also you can register for Azure as a student by just searching for Azure for students. So you click on this, you see a link that will take you to Azure for Students free account. So you can see you have access to 100 Azure credits, and you can have a lot of other features attached to it. So you can actually use that for as long as you want to use it. So for the purpose of this training, I will quickly run us through the Azure portal. So the first, by your left hand side, you have this let me call it menu button. So once you click on it, you see several menus that you have under Azure portal. So the first one is all the resources. So if you click on all resources, it will take you to all resources you have, like you've created before. So if you've not created any resources, then definitely you won't see anything here. But because I've created some resources before in the past, so that's what you're seeing here. So if I go back to this, you see our resource group, we see app services, functions, SQL database, Cosmos, virtual machine, load balancer, and the likes. So there are a lot of services more than this, based on what you want to do, what you want to operate with your Azure portal. So if, for example, what you're looking for is not here, so you can actually click on this and make a search through what you want, and definitely it will come to you. So for the purpose of this, we'll be looking at virtual machine. So there are several ways to get to virtual machine to create it. So it's either you click on this, then you go to virtual machine here, or you search for virtual machine here. You understand? So whichever way, you get virtual machine. So this is the virtual machine services on our Azure portal. So you can see a button here to create. So once you click on create, you see Azure virtual machine. This is the default virtual machine hosted on Azure portal, where you'll be using Azure infrastructure here. So here you have a virtual machine with a present configuration. So this has to do with, maybe you've created a virtual machine before and you want to use the same configuration you use for the virtual machine for the new one, if it's maybe an extension to, to your virtual machine. So this is an Azure Arc virtual machine, which is one of the non-Azure environments. When you're trying to use another environment for Azure virtual machine. So another one is Azure VMware solution virtual machine. So this is a VMware solution, like it's another machine, you understand, that we are using on Azure platform. So it's a third-party virtual machine manager that you're being used on, on Azure portal. So what we want to do is just create a normal virtual machine. So you click on this normal virtual machine. So it will prompt you create a virtual machine. So the subscription I'm using Azure for Students. So for the resource group, I've created two resource groups before, so I can just use one of my resource group tests. Then for the virtual machine, I can call it, let me call it my LAN, call it Teletech VM. So let me call it Teletech Linux. So I want to create a Linux here. So Teletech Linux. Use LX, okay, for Linux. So okay, we can use this. So call it Teletech. So let's just call it we can call it LX. Okay, so we can use US, but basically by default, when you're choosing the availability your region, you understand, you have to choose the region that is the closest to you. So for example, I'm supposed to choose UK South here, but sometimes all these platforms, as in all these locations, might not have the the required operating system we're looking at for our virtual machine. But let me see UK South. Okay, so if I choose UK South, I don't need any availability zone, so I can click no infrastructure for redundancy. So we can click on standard. So Azure, you can see we have Azure Server 20, Azure Server 20 Generation 2. So I think this should be the latest. So we're good with this. So we have the size has to do with the memory of computer. When the memory of computer, as in the memory of your virtual machine you are creating. You know, your virtual machine is more or less like a computer, and it will have a kind of a memory size where all your information will be saved. So this size shows the, you know, the memory, the number of CPU that your virtual machine will be running on. So if you don't want this, let's say you want more, you can click on see all sizes. So you'll be able to see all sizes here, understand? And you know, their cost is loading. So you see their cost per month. So you can see there are a lot of virtual machines with their costs per month. So whichever one you want to choose, you can actually choose it from here. You understand? So the most important aspect is that look at your look at the services you want to run before you choose a size. So if I select D2 V3 for my own, so I can just, you know, this one is 84.68 per month. So this, I want to choose my authentications. You have two ways you can authenticate. You can either authenticate through a public key or a password. So I prefer to use password. So for my password, I can just type in my password I want to use at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 7, 8. Okay, so I'm going to use this. Okay, so we can also use pass there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Oh. So my username, let me just call it Telly. Call it Telly. So we have my password set. So we have inbound, public inbound ports allowed. Yes, we want to allow SSH by 2. Okay, so we just click on next. So you choose the disk size if you want it to be redundant or you want any extra that you want to choose. You check your network. So your network will be created by default. So your network group, your basic and the likes and the likes. So you choose on management, check to make sure that everything is fine. So you check your VM application preview, all these things. So you use your host group and everything. So you just click on next tab. So we don't need to create any tag here. So you just go and create to review and validate. So it's running validation. So since the validation is passed, you just click on create your virtual machine. So this is the amount you'll be paying per hour. Understand? So I won't let an hour count before I get rid of this virtual machine as well. So okay, so it's deploying. So let's wait for it to finish the deployment. Okay, I think the deployment is still going. So while waiting for the deployment, you can see these are the resource group that has been created for the virtual machine. We have the LX. So we have the virtual machine itself. We have the network interface, the virtual interface. Okay, I think it's almost done. Yeah, it's done. So you go to resources when your deployment is completed. So you make sure that your virtual machine is started. So once it's, you can say once it's started, it will be grayed out. So from there, you can just click on connect. Remember, this is a Linux, then you SSH it to Linux virtual machine. So now what you just need here is this, understand? And to connect to this virtual machine, you have to download an application called PuTTY. You understand? So this application, I've downloaded it, and you can also get yours online. Just search on Google. If you open your browser, you can just search for. You can search for PuTTY. So if you search for PuTTY, you see it. PuTTY is free, so you can easily download it and use it. So I've downloaded mine. This is it here. So what I'll just do is just go back to this place, then go to my PuTTY. Then what I just need is put the IP here. Once I put the IP here, copy, then paste it. Okay, so I've put in my host name and IP, then I'll click on open. So it will give me some information. The server host is not catching the registry. You have no guarantee that the server is on the computer. I think it is this and this. So I'll just click on accept, and it will ask me for my login as Terry. That's my username. Then it will ask me for my password, which is PASS1434567 if I'm not mistaken. So once the password is correct, yeah, it's logging. So this is how to create a virtual machine, how to create and how to launch a virtual machine in Linux, as in a Linux virtual machine on Azure. So, and this is your virtual machine, and this is your Ubuntu. If you want to check the version, you can search for, you can take version dash. I think option is let's click on help. So help will give me a lot of commands, Linux command, you understand, for Ubuntu. So to check the version of an Ubuntu, we're going to use I forgot it, I don't memorize all these things. So if I want to, I can just go online, Google it, how to check version of Ubuntu, version of Linux. So you go to terminal, you search upon referring command, find OS name, and version Linux cat etc OS release. So we cat etc OS released. Okay, so if I do this now, I can clear. I still remember I can clear this. So yeah, I can cat relate this. So to give me the version of Ubuntu I'm running and this and some likely information about it.